Back in 1990, an Italian geologist by the name of Angelo Pittoni found himself in Sierra Leone, West Africa, on a mission to survey a region known as Kono. The area was known for its unusually frequent discoveries of high-quality diamonds, and he was there to investigate the geological reasons why. As his research got underway, Pittoni heard a mysterious tale from a local tribal chief named Fula. According to ancient legend, long, long ago, an angel exiled for rebellion fell to earth along with the sky itself, and that was why this land was so rich with brilliant minerals. When he finished speaking, the chief opened his clenched fist, revealing a single stone to Pittoni. In his palm lay a stone of a brilliant blue color, the likes of which Pittoni, a geologist, had never seen before. The chief offered it to Pittoni as a gift and said, "This is a sky stone, a piece of the sky that fell." Back in Italy, Pittoni decided to analyze this so-called sky stone. He sent a piece to a Natural Sciences Institute in Geneva, Switzerland, and took the rest to Sapienza University of Rome. And from both locations, the results that came back were unbelievable. The stone didn't match any known mineral on Earth. In fact, an astounding 77% of its composition was pure oxygen. While it did contain other elements like carbon, silicon, and calcium, a 77% oxygen makeup was something that simply could not be explained by science. Another strange thing was the stone's color. While vividly blue to the naked eye, that color completely vanished under a microscope. The researchers couldn't figure out why it appeared to be such a brilliant blue. The stone's chemical composition made it impossible for it to be blue. There was nothing in it that should have produced that color. The stone was then sent to Utrecht University in the Netherlands, where it underwent even more in-depth testing. Even when heated to 3,000 degrees Celsius, its shape and composition remained completely unchanged. It wouldn't even corrode or get damaged when exposed to various acids. From there, the sky stone was passed between several research facilities, undergoing a battery of tests including X-ray and infrared analysis, plasma spectrometry, and gas chromatography. But no matter where it went, no one could determine the stone's origin or identity. Some researchers became convinced it could not possibly be natural. To explore the possibility that it was an artifact, they decided to break off a small piece of the stone for further testing. And in the process, they discovered an organic compound with a strange molecular formula that does not exist on Earth. This was a critical finding, as it meant the sky stone wasn't purely mineral in nature. And when the researchers tested that organic compound, they were in for another shock, because dating of the organic compound estimated its origin to be at least 15,000 years ago, with more comprehensive methods suggesting it could be as old as 55,000 years. If the sky stone was an artifact, this would imply that a civilization with highly advanced technology existed on Earth tens of thousands of years ago. Despite being a potentially monumental discovery for human history, for some reason, all official news about the sky stone suddenly went silent. Those who had encountered the stone engaged in all sorts of debates about its identity. Was it a type of meteorite that fell to Earth long ago? Tangible proof of a lost ancient civilization? Or just a hoax-a normal piece of rock painted with dye? A consensus remained elusive. At first, many viewed it with fascination, but as the silence dragged on, that fascination turned to suspicion. And as the years passed, the stone's existence gradually faded from memory. Then, in 2013, the sky stone broke its long silence and re-emerged into the world. An American artist and photographer named Jared Collins was visiting a well-known gem dealer in Hong Kong named Arthur, looking to source materials for his work. Collins had spent all night going through Arthur's bags of wares, but none of the gems gave him the inspiration he was looking for. Disappointed, Collins asked Arthur if he had anything for special. After a moment's thought, Arthur reached into his pocket and pulled out a small Ziploc bag. Inside was a fragment of a bluish stone, about 3 centimeters in size. Pointing to it, Arthur said it was a stone that came from the sky. The stone, which had a smooth surface with irregular white veins running through it, looked as if it had been artificially cut. When Collins picked it up, he noticed it was unusually light and thought it had to be made of wax or plastic, not some kind of rock. "I know this sounds crazy," Arthur said, continuing his story, "but every word of it is true." Arthur explained that he hadn't believed it at first either, so after receiving the stone, he sent it to the GRS for appraisal. The GRS is a world-renowned gemological laboratory specializing in high-value gemstones. After examining the stone, the GRS sent back a report stating that despite running every kind of test and analysis, they were unable to identify the mineral type. Dr. Preety, a world-class gemologist at GRS who had examined the stone, reportedly called Arthur personally to ask, "What on earth did you send us?" Dr. Preety was baffled, explaining that even after using all of their top-of-the-line equipment, they couldn't prove a single thing about it. Fascinated by the story, Collins offered to buy it, but Arthur refused. Arthur told him that out of the hundreds of items in his collection, this was the one and only thing he would not sell. Seeing a dealer, whose entire business is built on making sales, flatly refuse to sell, only made the Sky Stone more credible and fascinating to Collins. After returning home, Collins spent the next year trying to track down any information on the gem, but he came up empty, finding nothing beyond the few studies that were already public. Eventually, he contacted Arthur again. Upon hearing that Collins had spent a full year searching for the gem, Arthur decided to sell him a piece of it, mailing him the very sample that had been sent to the GRS. Tucked inside the package, along with the piece of stone he had so desperately wanted, was a letter from Arthur. It contained the hidden story of the Sky Stone, a story that had never been told to the world. To Jared, this is the story of how the Sky Stone came into my possession. Years ago, I was traveling the world. During that time in India, I got to know an Italian man named Vijay. I believe this was around the year 2000. He was running a shop there, selling gems and stones. We had that brief encounter, and then, in 2008, we met again at a seminar in Italy. By then, I had started my own gem company. Vijay showed me a sky blue stone and asked for my opinion. When I asked what it was, Vijay told me it was of extraterrestrial origin and shared the whole story about the geologist Petoni discovering the stone in Africa and everything that happened after. Now, whether you believe what I'm about to tell you is up to you. I'm only telling you what I was told. After receiving the fragment from the chief, Petoni was supposedly guided to the location of the main body of the stone. There, Petoni saw a rock formation of a kind he'd never seen before, half buried in the ground, glowing with a faint blue light. The stone was chipped away in places, as if people had been quarrying it, and it seemed to glow with an even purer, more brilliant blue light the deeper one went. The strange thing was, the rock wasn't shaped like a natural boulder. It looked like a pyramida triangular cone. The tribe's shaman pointed to the rock and called it the sky that fell with the angel. After this, Petoni bought a significant amount of the stone and returned to his country. He sent some off to various labs for analysis and gave the rest away to friends and acquaintances. Word got out fast about the Sky Stone that Petoni had, and tons of people started contacting him, trying to get a piece. Eventually, he started selling the stone even to strangers, and before long, he had sold every last piece he had. My interest was piqued, so I asked Vijay if he could get some for me. He managed to acquire a few pieces for me through a friend in Italy. He added that, for some reason, Professor Petoni seemed to have vanished right after he'd sold off all the stones. If your research uncovers anything, I do hope you'll let me know. May your journey be a fortunate one, Arthur. Afterwards, to gather more information, Collins emailed Vijay using the contact information he got from Arthur. Vijay replied that he had tried to contact Petoni once more a few years back through a source, hoping to get more of the Sky Stone, but said the man had vanished as if into thin air right after giving him his last piece. In February 2014, while looking for an expert to definitively analyze the stone, Collins emailed Tony Irving, a leading authority on meteorite and extraterrestrial material analysis at the University of Washington's Department of Earth and Space Sciences. Collins wanted the tests to answer 5 key questions. Is the material that makes up the stone natural or artificial? What elements compose this material, and in what proportions? What is the reason for the stone's blue color? Can the age and origin of the stone be determined? Is this material terrestrial, or is it of extraterrestrial origin? After a few more email exchanges with Irving, Collins decided to move forward with the most precise and state-of-the-art testing ever to be conducted on the Sky Stone. Collins stated that he hoped the research would end all debate and completely uncover the truth, and even gave permission to publish or release the findings if the data was deemed scientifically important or newsworthy. Collins later released the emails he'd exchanged with Irving, making it clear that he wasn't a paranormal believer or a conspiracy theorist, but was committed to a scientific and transparent approach to the stone. But after that, silence. No further news about the Sky Stone ever came out. About 5 years later, in 2019, a rumor surfaced that Collins had suddenly appeared and visited the University of Washington, but that was it. What happened between them? And what in the world was the stone's true identity? To this day, the origin and identity of the Sky Stone remain shrouded in mystery. What is the pyramid-shaped main body in Sierra Leone? What do the angel and the sky in the tribal legend refer to? How can we explain the stone's age of tens of thousands of years and its scientifically impossible composition? None of these questions have been clearly answered. So far, the only conclusion is the one offered by every expert who has ever tested the stone: unidentifiable. This ancient rock, tens of thousands of years old, called the Sky Stone. What could it possibly be? This has been the Repository of Wonders.